So I was just going to carry on from paragraph 106. As consciousness emerged in humans, we progressed from being able to sufficiently understand the relationship between cause and effect to become self-conscious, aware of our own existence during our infancy, to proactively carry out experiments in self-management during our childhood, at which point all the manifestations of the human condition of anger, egocentricity, and alienation began to reveal themselves. It follows that it was during our childhood that we each became increasingly aware of not only the imperfection of the human condition afflicted world around us, but of the imperfection of our own behaviour. That we too suffered from anger, selfishness, meanness, and indifference to others. Basically, all of human life, including our own behaviour, became increasingly bewildering and distressing, to such a degree that by the time children reached late childhood, they generally entered what is recognised as the naughty nines, where their confusion and frustration was such that they even angrily began taunting and bullying those around them. By the end of childhood, however, children realised that lashing out in exasperation at the imperfections, wrongness, and injustice of the world didn't change anything, and that the only possible way to end their frustration was to understand why the world and their own behaviour was not ideal. It was at this point, which occurred around 12 years of age, that children underwent a dramatic change from being frustrated, protesting, demonstrative, loud extroverts into sobered, deeply thoughtful, quiet introverts, consumed with anxiety about the imperfections of life under the duress of the human condition. Indeed, it is in recognition of this very significant psychological transition from a relatively human condition-free state to a very human condition-aware state that we separate these stages into childhood and adolescence, a shift even our schooling system marks by having children graduate from what is generally called primary school into secondary school. And I'll confirm that because I work in a primary school, and this is definitely what happens towards the second half of year 7. They really settle down and become sobered. I mean, just before they leave, they're all, confident and loud, but this general description Jeremy is giving definitely happens during this age group. So just to continue on, what then happened during adolescence was that at about 14 or 15 years of age, and after struggling for a few years to make sense of existence, the search for understanding became so confronting of those extreme internal imperfections that adolescents had no choice but to resign to living in denial of the whole unbearably depressing and seemingly unsolvable issue of the human condition, after which they became superficial and artificial escapists, not wanting to look at any issue too deeply, and, before long, combative and competitive, power, fame, fortune and glory, relief from the agony and guilt of the human condition, seeking resigned adults. So that has taken me to paragraph 107. I'm just going to stop there. I'm going to do like a little series of videos so that you can just hear it in little snippets. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that short section.